What is up, everybody, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are looking at the Vulp, which I know you guys have seen quite a lot about, but today we're not just looking at a Vulp. No, we are looking at the Vulp, or the new Vulp. You see, this, what I am flipping right now, is the old Vulp. This is that old stuff, man. Nobody cares about this trash, this garbage. Listen to it. That's garbage right there. That's gross. Nobody likes that. Hear that tapping? Oh man, what is up with that? That's no good. No. In today's video, I wanted to share with you the processes that have been at work behind the scenes to create the new, updated, better Vulp. Yes, indeed. This is an incredibly exciting video for me because this is the first time that you'll really be able to see what we have been up to, what we've been cooking. So, all right, this is the unboxing experience. We're going to unbox this one. Do you want to know why? Well, if you remember, in the first batch of Vulps, there was one color that wasn't quite right. Well, not anymore, because now, look at that. Beautiful. We have a beautiful, nice light blue teal color that I think will go perfectly with the rest of the lineup. I actually sent them so we for this one, to make sure that there was no miscommunication, I actually picked out a specific Pantone color and sent it to them, and they were like, sure, we can make that specific color. And so now we have a nice, beautiful, bright blue teal Vulp. I am so happy about this thing. Obviously, it's not a very like blue-green sort of teal, but I think this is what a lot of people kind of think of when they think of teal nowadays. So this is a really, really beautiful sort of blue that I am just absolutely enamored with. I really, really like the look of this thing, and I am really happy with it. But I literally just took this out of the box. This is not one that I've unboxed yet. And there's no tap. And, oh no, well, I dropped it, but, wow. Oh yeah, the swing is fantastic, and there are good reasons for that, because we have updated a lot about the internal hardware of this thing and what comes in that box. And I will talk about both right now. So first, let's start on the hardware, right? Originally, the hardware of the original Vulp is fine. It's fine. It's T8. But there was a few problems with it. First of all, I was unaware of this originally, but apparently it wasn't hardened out of the box. So that's unfortunate. We did end up fixing it on, I think, like the second batches that were released, but like it just, I wasn't even aware that it was not hardened hardware, and that was just really unfortunate. So pretty weak, you know, that's not great. And so if you were one of the users who got a Vulp and tried to tighten it out of the box, you may have stripped your screws pretty quickly, which is unfortunate and not something that I really want to be an experience, because this thing is aimed at newer people. So, the screws are now hardened. That's a first, you know, big step. But second to that, they are no longer T8 screws. No, no, no. They are now a nice, beautiful, big T10. Look at that. So that's the T8, nice and tiny. This is the T10. Very big, very beautiful, absolutely voluptuous quality. Fits a T10 bit perfectly. Bally driver from Glider Co. Fantastic stuff. This is a much stronger, much better screw that will make tuning your Vulp so much easier, which is something that I look forward to so much. Like, I can't even describe it. So popping this guy apart here, you can see this screw is just generally much higher quality. It's got a lot more going on. It is a thicker, hardened screw. This one was Loctited out of the facility. We were experimenting with potentially Loctiting them, but apparently it made it too hard to take apart, so we're not going to Loctite them out of the factory. So that'll be up to you if you want to do that, if you want to use, you know, different materials for that. But you'll notice it's a pretty tight screw. in terms of the thread count. Like, the thread count is pretty high, which means that it'll actually keep itself set inside of here pretty well, all things considered. So that's good to know. And yeah, so that's the screws that have been upgraded. Now, the other thing that has been majorly upgraded out of the box, and actually one of the things that cost the most in terms of, you know, actually making this upgrade, like monetarily speaking, was adding higher quality bushings. You see, the original bushings in the Vulp were apparently approximately 6.9 millimeters plus or minus 0.04 millimeters. Or maybe it was like 0.02 plus or minus. We were trying to aim for like 6.94 millimeters for the outer diameter. What that means is that the bushings were actually slightly too small for what we were trying to accomplish. Now we have upgraded the bushings and their fit to exactly 6.99 millimeters plus or minus 0.001 millimeter. So, this literally has been refined, the actual experience of the sizing of the bushings. They have been refined down to a thousandth of a millimeter, not a thousandth of an inch. A thousandth of an inch is substantially larger than a thousandth of a millimeter. So we have highly, highly, highly refined the actual bushings that are inside of the Vulp, which means that out of the package, it comes with much less play than the original Vulp, and in general will be much easier to tune and tighten than the original Vulp. This also leads to better experiences in terms of the sound of the Vulp, especially over a long-term sort of experience. Like, over time, it'll just get less loose less often. And that will lead to all sorts of exciting things. But yeah, so that is what has been upgraded inside of the Vulp. Oh, one last thing to mention is that the we changed the actual type of Loctite we're using to put in the Zen pin screws, or the Zen pins. But you should know that the Zen pins are held in with Loctite, and currently we're hoping that our new method will completely eliminate the problem that people had with sometimes they would fall out if you dropped it on concrete or whatever. So hopefully that will fix that issue, but if it doesn't and your Vulp Zen pins do fall out, just know that you can put them back in with Loctite and just literally let it sit overnight, and it should be fine in the morning for you to keep flipping on it. So yeah, those are the hardware upgrades. There have been some major upgrades to the hardware, but there's also some major upgrades to what is included in the box itself. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the unboxing experience for the Vulp. And you will notice a couple of cool things in here. So first of all, we've got our standard bottle of thread locker. This is just kind of the go-to. In general, you know, it's perfectly fine Loctite blue. It's not anything crazy, but it will do what you need it to do. Then, this vial. Oh, this vial, this extremely cool vial. What could this be? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a small sample of this. That's right, this, as you can tell by the color, is Super Lube. This is my favorite lube for all of Balisongs. It is, I think, the best lubricant for Balisongs, in my humble opinion, which we are now selling on Hirsch.gay in these wonderful pre-made bottles. As you can see, it's very convenient. It's a 10 milliliter bottle, got a lot going on. I literally hand-filled each one of these bottles with Super Lube and then put a sticker on it myself. So these were literally all handmade by me, just because I was annoyed with the fact that anytime I wanted to recommend Super Lube to somebody, they would have to buy a bunch of it and then do this themselves. So I was like, what if I just bought a bunch of it and then did it myself? So I did, Hirsch.gay. But so you can test it when you've gotten your Vulp, because one thing we noticed is that a lot of people don't have any lube for their first Balisong. And if this is going to be your first Balisong, lube is one of the most important things. And so we are now including a vial of lube with every Vulp. And it opens just like that. This little thing acts as a cork, and it acts as an applicator. You can literally stick in the little end bit, grab out some lube, and apply it to your balisong, just like that. It is a really, really smart idea to include this lube with the balisong. It means that people are going to be able to lubricate their balisong right out of the gate. And honestly, this little bottle, I was a little skeptical at first when they showed it to me, but after using it, it's not the most convenient thing in the world, but I think this is probably the best way to get a small, like, you know, droplet-sized applicator into a box like this. You know, we're only sending out a little bit of super lube. It's not like you're getting a whole massive bottle of it, just because that's not really possible with this kind of setup. But you are getting enough to be very usable for at least a while, because you only need a little drop of it at a time, and then it just goes right in your balisong, and you know, suddenly you've got enhanced performance right out of the box. So yeah, now you've got thread locker and super lube included in with the balisong, and it is super lube. It literally is super lube, my favorite lube. It's just so nice. It's so freaking nice that we can have that in there. But not only that, no. There is one last thing that I must show you. So, as you remember, we do have this little stinky little tool, which I'm not a fan of, but we include anyways. You get extra washers, you get extra bushings, you get extra hardware. The extra hardware is awesome, really useful, especially now that it's higher quality hardware. It means you've got a lot more that you can do. But taking apart the Vulp is notoriously a difficult process. It is notoriously something that people have had trouble with. Well, what if I told you that we have improved it so much that it is now actually pretty easy to take apart and reassemble your Vulp, especially because of the new tools that are included in the Vulp box. So if I just pop everything out like that and take my boy apart, whoop, uh-oh, that's not too good. I just took apart the Vulp. What am I going to do to fix that? Well, look at this. Look at this tool right here. This is now going to be included in every box with the Vulp. This is our special assembly tool. You can see it is essentially just a very long T10 bit. And it will work as a screwdriver bit, though I would honestly suggest still purchasing something like a Weehaw T10 Torx bit, or, if you can, getting a full-sized actual Weehaw bit. But this is where it gets exciting, right? To put the Vulp back together now, all you have to do is align everything the way that it's going to need to be, which actually, you should never kind of take your balisong apart and then just put it back together blindly without cleaning out the area in the middle first, because all of that dust and stuff that wasn't in there, well, now that you've taken it apart, it is in there, and so that can be a problem. So just clean that out a slight bit. But we have our washers here, right? What I'm going to do is pull the washers about the same amount over to the side, okay? That will allow me to slip each washer into the handle like this. All right, and then I can push the entire handle over to where it goes. But now you'll notice, oh no, God, that sucks. There's like not a good way for me to get all of that lined up, except what's this little tool that I have? If I just stick that in there and wiggle it through, what's that? Everything is now perfectly aligned. So all I have to do is slide in that bad boy. And you kind of got to give it a bit of a wiggle. Oh, popped right in. Look at that. Look at that. I literally haven't even used this tool yet. This is the first time that I've assembled the new Vulp. I was that confident in the fact that this would work. And look, it did. This is a genius solution that was created by Nabalis. It is not quite as good as something like Indiana John's solution, which is to use a pivot needle that he invented. The pivot needle is basically this, but even better, because not only so the pivot needle, this one functions as a T10 bit and an assembly tool. The pivot needle actually allows you to attach the pivot itself to the back of the needle. So when you push it through, you know how I had to like push the pivot through manually and like kind of wiggle it in there? The pivot needle actually allows you to push it through in one smooth motion and then pop, it's just in there. Like, it's literally like black magic. You just go, and it's in there, and you don't have to worry about it. It's fantastic. So this is going to help a lot of people with assembling their Vulps, but if you put together more Balisongs than just the Vulp, and especially if you put together a lot of Balisongs, if you're doing maintenance or anything like that, a pivot needle from Indiana John is absolutely an indispensable tool. And that definitely had some inspiration in how we created this thing, but this is going to be basically just the best way to assemble your Vulp, and is something that we are now including in the package for the Vulp. So yeah, now you can literally just buy it and it'll come in the Vulp package. Like, it's just in there. It's just in there. I think if we do, I know we're going to try to end up selling upgrade packs for people that bought their Vulp, you know, the original one, this guy, because all of the hardware will still fit it. So people that bought this Vulp, I'm certain we're going to be selling hardware packs so that you can upgrade it to the new spec. And that will include bushings that you can tune yourself, though that will be a little bit difficult. I'm going to make a video on how to tune the bushings to actually make that work, but you can swap over, you know, hardware. So we'll sell a hardware kit, and hopefully in that kit, at least my want is that we will also be selling the assembly tool with the kit. So I'm going to, you know, have to talk to Nabali's, make sure that that's actually feasible, but I'm pretty sure it is. And yeah, this tool is honestly revolutionary to how assembling your Balisong will work now for the Vulp, because beforehand, it was a pain in the butt. Now, I literally did it live for the first time in the middle of a park in like a couple minutes. And that, I think, is a big difference between, what, my 40-minute long video on like how to assemble the Vulp. Now I literally just did it in like a couple minutes. That tool is the difference between, you know, not being able to put this thing together easily and making it a walk in the park to assemble. So big thank you to Nabali's for coming up with that. That was honestly entirely their idea, to kind of integrate the T10 driver into the assembly tool and make it all one thing. So that was a very genius move on their part, and I'm very thankful for it. And yeah, there's just so many cool upgrades that are happening with the Vulp. Here I have in the other box, I have the orange version of the new Vulp. As you can see, once again, it's just got the bigger screws, so that's kind of, you can kind of tell if this is a V1 versus a V2 Vulp. They sound about the same, though I've noticed that the V2 sort of rings a little bit differently. I'm not totally sure why. I think it might have something to do with the bushing fit. You can hear, like, it's a very slight difference in sound, but I think it might have something to do with how tightly the bushings actually fit into the blade holes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the moment. I mean, this thing, it's just such a small change and yet a large difference in terms of experience. And I think that that is so important, and it makes me so happy to see this happening. So yeah, now included with the Vulp, not only do you have lubricant, so you can actually just purchase one thing and have everything you need to at least get started on a base level, but you also have an assembly tool that will make taking it apart and putting it back together so much easier. I'm going to make a full tutorial that's like how to switch out the hardware from an old Vulp to a new Vulp. I'm going to make a tutorial that is talking about like how to, you know, just adjust and take care of your brand new Balisong. But yeah, that's all coming. The new Vulps are going to be releasing very soon. I'm currently working on a video on the main channel that is probably one of the most ambitious videos we've ever created, that is announcing the Vulp to the population. Because if you've noticed, I've only ever talked about the Vulp really on this channel. I haven't talked about the Vulp on the main channel yet, and we were already selling out of like 1,600 units in a few freaking hours. So currently we are trying to produce as many of the Vulp as possible and make it as available as possible. And so you can expect them to be releasing relatively soon, alongside the release of our main channel announcement video. So hopefully we can get the new Vulp into the hands of more people, and for people that bought the old Vulp, we can get them hardware kits available, and so everybody can be kind of happy. And yeah, I'm just really excited about this, dude. This is such a cool upgrade. First of all, the new color, I just love it. And then second of all, the way that it feels is genuinely so much better. Like, I was honestly shocked at how much of a difference those new bushings made, but they really do make a very distinct difference in the flippability of this Balisong. So anyways, that's going to be pretty much it for the moment. As you can hear, the wind has very much picked up. I don't know if my microphone is filtering that out or not, but if it's not, sorry about that. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little overview of what has changed about the Vulp. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the moment. Thanks for watching. Peace.